All right, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. This is Pedro Vega. Welcome to our Cardinal Senior Benefits Morning Pursuit Call. Here at Cardinal, we promote peace of mind. We begin again and we pursue excellence. We do that a bunch of different ways, mainly by controlling what we can control with our effort and by being intentional with our attitude. We do our best to choose and cultivate a positive attitude of service and perspective. We know that it's hard to be nervous if our heart's on service. And whenever we're thinking biggest picture, we tend to win, right? And those can actually be tied together, service and perspective. We know that, again, it's if we're focused on ourselves, we're probably focused on making the sale. We're more stressed out. And that's not for us to worry about, right? We're not in control of that. We don't care about the order, the outcomes. We care about how we can help, right? Who we can help next and getting better, right? Day by day, in every way, by the grace of God, we are getting better and better. Guys, I'm excited to be with you today. It is chilly in a lot of parts of the country right now. I'll be honest, I almost thought about canceling the call because a lot of people are out with school, their kids are home, some people are without power, all kinds of things like that. And then I thought, man, what would Nate Alberts say? I'm in my house right now. He's actually done some door knocks last week in temperatures even colder than this. I was like, we could at least do a call. So guys, thanks for being on this morning. There's a bunch of people on right now. I'm going to get to see a lot of your lovely faces by the end of this week in New Orleans. So that's going to be awesome. I know there's going to be other folks that are going to be chomping away at their goals. We already rounded out 1 month, guys, 1 month of the year. I mean, on our stats reporting, that was last week. This one's already kicking up February. So I know there's some big years ahead. Okay, some great people that hit the team this morning. 2 new agents are going to be sharing, so I'm excited for
Call
that.
will be recorded.
So let's get to the numbers. Let's jump in. Okay, so I'm very thankful. I'm so thankful for all the leaders and producers out there serving so many families. People that again, we work with a bunch of leaders because in sales you have to lead yourself, right? It's what you're doing when nobody's looking. It's the habits that really make up the business. And we got some new people making an impact immediately. So let's get to those numbers here from this past week. All right, so let's give some shout outs here. Stacy Durr, 4,100 last week, 5 on 12. Zach Wright, 4,300, 5 on, wow, 24 people sat down with. Courtney Hunt, 4,500 last week. Taylor Hoffert, right at 5,000. I think that's 15 on the week. Jaime Ramos, no, let's see. Taylor Hoffert, 5,000. Jaime Ramos, 5,100 last week, 6 on 12. Freitas, number 13 last week, 5,100 on the week, 35 hours, 60 door knocks, 12 presentations, 4 on 12. Great job, Freitas. I know he traveled to work with some other agents this past week. Sharpen the saw, getting better. Freitas, appreciate you doing that. Mr. AP Price, 5,400 last week, 9 on 24, 37 hours. Great work. Mr. Bradley Wenger, he's going to be sharing here in a bit. He had I think a $10,000 week last week, 6,400 this past week. I'll circle back. That's number 10 on the week. Ian Penzato, one of our veterans, right at 7,000 over there in Arizona. 25 hours, 6 on 7 presentations. Great job. Mr. Zach Benavides down in Florida, 7,100, 37 hours, 14 appointments, 42 door knocks, 13 sits, had 6 applications on 13. Great job, Mr. Benavides. Mr. John Ferguson on Zach's team. John, great job, 7,200 last week, 30 hours, 14 appointments, 18 door knocks, 8 on 8. Great job. Mr. Brooks Collins, 7,300, newer agent. I think this is his 4th month. Been so impressed with his attitude and his work ethic. 7,300, 40 hours, 29 appointments, 19 door knocks, had 8 presentations, close 5 on 8. I'm sorry, 5 on 8 presentations. Number 5 on the week, Miss Amber Lewis. She'll be sharing here in a bit. New agent doing a great job. 8,400 on the week. I'll circle back. Mr. Taylor Hoffert, 8,500 on the week. 36 hours, 19 appointments, 10 sits, had 8 apps on 10 presentations for that 8,500. Great job, Mr. Gritton. That's 4 on the week. Number 3, Mr. Nate the Great up there in frigid Minnesota. And I got to give a shout out to Anthony as well. He's up there, freezing his butt off as well. But Nate Alberts, 12,500 in annual premium last week. 29 hours, 25 door knocks, 16 presentations, had 30 appointments, 12 on 16. Mr. Nate Alberts, great job, man. Appreciate you. Number 2, Mr. Eric Nicholson, might be sharing tomorrow with, again, one of our veterans, been here, say, at least 6 years. 12,895 on the week. Great job, Eric. 29 hours, 30 appointments, 14 door knocks, have 14 sits, 10 applications on 14 presentations. Awesome awesome week, Mr. Nicholson. Appreciate you, sir. And let's see, Mr. Robert Dykes, King of the Hill, #1, and I'm not sure if it's his best week yet because he's had some pretty crazy weeks, but it's definitely up there. 17,343 in annual premium. Man, Dykes, what a week, man. 33 hours, 28 appointments, 52 door knocks, 12 applications on 14 presentations. What a beautiful job. So, guys, a lot of these top people, they're getting it on the doors. Okay, obviously the appointment setting is beautiful. I mean, it's awesome to have, right? But most people are like me and you. You know, if they don't know who you are, I mean, if you're not saved in my phone, you can call me a bunch. I'm likely not going to answer, right? And some of your biggest customers of the week are going to be people on the phone. Some of your best customers, because again, if it's harder for us to get a hold of them, it's harder for somebody else to come and replace the business, right? So, there's just a lot of premium on the doors. Dyke has just, proved that. And obviously Nate does it all the time. One of our all-time best producers. He's always getting those apps on the door. I mean, look at Nate. He had 6 of his 12 was door knocking this past week. So great job. Great job all around. All right. I was thinking about the cold this morning, and I was thinking about just one of our little axioms and sayings. There's 2 types of people in the world, right? Those who make excuses and those who find a way, right? Excuses, anybody can find them. It doesn't take anything special about finding an excuse, but it takes a quality person to find their way over, under, or right through any obstacle that comes in their way. Now, weather's crazy right now, so obviously use common sense, right? Use common sense, especially with the weather. But, most of the time, we don't have a legitimate out. We really don't. It's just little compromises of convenience that, and obviously straight commission, no one's going to say a peep, really. No one can blame us because we're already doing something difficult. We're already taking the road less traveled. We're doing what most people are not willing to do. But that's saying there's 2 types of people in the world, those who make excuses and those who find a way. It just makes things a dichotomy. It just makes it really simple. It's a little harsh, but most of the times it serves us for the good, right? And when you're with a group like this, with people that have standards for themselves that they do here, putting up the kind of numbers that they do, having the kind of consistency, the quality of effort that they have, it's just, you're just reminded, I can make an excuse right now, I can find a will, because someone probably has it harder and they likely found a way. They chose the higher road and they took the road less traveled. All right. So let's get to our first speaker, Mr. Bradley Wenger. Bradley, good morning. Good morning. If you want to unmute your phone, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Presence. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hey, man, thanks for jumping on. Guys, Bradley's rounding out about his 8th week. So 2 months here at Cardinal. So new to the team. Last week, 10,800.
Not quite 8 weeks.
Say that again?
Only 4 weeks, Pedro.
4 weeks. I see.
Yeah. I only did 1 week in December and then just January, so maybe 5.
My fault. You are correct, sir.
It's
You are correct. You're right. 5 weeks of stats. 5 weeks of stats. So look at last week. 10,877 in annual premium. 38 hours, 59 door knocks, 14 sits at 8 apps on 14. And then last week, 6,400, 37 hours, 54 door knocks, 5 on 7. But from the beginning, he's been putting in the work. 5,000, 4,700, 3,500. And then the last couple of weeks, been 2 of his best weeks so far. So yeah, man, first I'd just love to introduce you to the team, welcome you to the team. We'd love to hear a little bit about your story, what brought you to Cardinal, and then we can talk a little bit about your start and your learning curve so far. The floor is...
Yeah. I did door to door for a few years, moved over to Florida on a whim. Then I was just on Indeed, and then I saw Cardinal, and life insurance was always in the back of my mind. I've had friends who've done it, but I always kind of figured it was, I don't know, maybe too good to be true. I wasn't really sure. So I just kind of applied there, and then I started here, and then now here we are a month later, and it's been pretty fun. So
yeah, well, you've definitely been putting in the activity. I know the appointments have been slower where you're at. I talked to you a little bit about that, but you've definitely made up for it the last couple of weeks. I mean, your first week, 12 door knocks, 7 presentations, a couple apps. The next week, and that was only in 15 hours. The second week, 11 door knocks, still got a couple apps, 3 on 8. So obviously your sales foundation has definitely served you in started here, but then you picked it up 43 door knocks, 12 presentations, 75 hours. So very close to hitting your first 3 out of 4. And then back-to-back weeks the last 2 weeks, you have hit 3 out of 4. The premium, the hours, 59 door knocks, 14 SIDs. And then last week as well, hit 3 out of 4 as well. So
Right.
yeah, tell me about just what it's been like in the presentations. Like, how has this compared to your previous sales cycles and what you've been having to get used to?
Well, the biggest difference I noticed when I was selling window washing, it was just cold. It was door to door. I have to work just as hard, but it doesn't feel like as much of a hustle because with window washing, it's a want. So I'm selling people who have never really heard of regular basis window washing. And so it was just kind of grit work. This, on the other hand, especially with most being replacements, it's kind of just a need. So selling something that I feel like people more need than want, it's kind of nice. So I cancellations are probably going to be a little bit lower, and the presentation is a little longer, that's for sure. So it takes a little bit of getting used to. I can't wait for a few months down the road when I could do it with more ease. But yeah, it's a little longer, but like again, I like that it's a need and unless I'm a want, so I'm really enjoying that. But I'm pretty comfortable most of it, given the whole presentation at this point. Just waiting
Sounds like,
until I can fill in the gaps and stuff.
yeah, so it sounds like you've done a couple replacements already. Um,
Yeah, I think most of them are probably 80% for me so far, I believe.
yeah, that's great. I mean, honestly, that's a pretty high percentage starting out. I mean, so that tells me again, you're sounds like you're building trust pretty well if you're getting that many replacements, that quickly. It sounds like
Yeah.
you've been utilizing Naomi in those situations, like your trainer or those replacement situations. You might want to talk a little bit about that, of just in the beginning and how you're utilizing her, about 5 weeks in.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm definitely utilizing her. I'm not scared to call her. I mean, as long as she can answer, that's fine. But what exactly? What do you ask
Yeah, so with,
exactly?
with the replacements. So I mean, if you're doing 80% replacements, and you may not
Yeah.
even know if you're doing well on it, but how are you going about the replacements right now? Are you getting their physical policy? Are you calling the current company? Is
Okay.
Naomi telling you to do all these things before you call her? Like how are you handling replacement situations right now?
Yeah, I mean, she's just instructed me to call their current policy customer service regardless of anything. So that's what I do. When I get in the house, as soon as I find out they have a policy, I just say, yeah, I've got their number right here. They'll verify you're here. We'll get that, and then we'll compare apples to apples. So then I call their customer service, then I ask them all the questions
Stop
on the
you.
script.
Hey, I'm gonna stop you right there. Okay. So
Yeah,
first of all, thank you for being coachable. Look, there's so many things that a trainer would tell people to do, and then they just don't actually happen. But guys, he said it in a offhand fashion, like regardless of what they tell me, I'm gonna call the company. Okay, such a simple thing to overlook. Sometimes you're wasting energy deciding whether you should call them or not. Like if you're sitting down with them, first of all, that's a win, right? Get the sit. And then if they got a policy, you got to get the facts straight from the horse's mouth. And even if they have a physical policy, you still want to get in the habit of calling. If it's during business hours, you want to call every single time because you can't get exact cash value figures without calling the company, or they might have a loan on the policy, which totally affects comparing apples to apples. You might be trying to beat 10,000 in coverage, but there might be a $2,000 loan on it. So it's not 10,000 in coverage. Effective, they might have 8,000, for example. So, hey, Bradley, are you getting,
exactly.
what do you do when you're getting some resistance where like, I don't want to do that, or no, we don't need to do that. How are you handling just,
Uh, I don't know exactly what I say. I think it really just comes down to like, I'm so confident I can help them, especially if they have, a current policy, and especially if they got it in the last 5, 10 years. I'm just so confident I can help them. I just kind of keep at it. So I keep the energy, low, and then if they resist, I just kind of neutralize it, and then go at it again. And I honestly don't find myself leaving for quite a while. And then a lot of the times, eventually, they're just like, okay, I've got, and then they say who it is, and I just go back into it. Don't know exactly what I'm saying, depends on what it
No,
is, but
it's
I don't
okay.
leave too easily.
No, that's good. That's good. And that's okay, man. You know, it's kind of like I've heard it. There's like incompetence, unconscious incompetence, and then it's like unconscious competence. So it's kind of like you're good at something, but you don't really know why. And then, you know, mastery is when you're like you're consciously competent. You're good and you know why you're good at certain steps. I think
Right.
all those years you spent door knocking has built up kind of like this natural you know, like you don't hear no's as deeply as a brand new person. Like, you know, like this sounds kind of bad, but ignoring a no is not rude. You know, it's like when your reservoir of conviction is so big, you know, you just translate the no's like they just don't really matter until we get to what matters. They just don't matter. You know, it's just no.
Right.
I don't know if you want to speak to that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, well, and I'm not going to stay there if it's like super awkward. It's not awkward because, again, I'm kind of ignoring the no and I'm just keeping the conversation as if they didn't say it. And it's almost as if they didn't by the time they're saying yes. So, no, 100%. 100%. I had a lady this week who she said no. So she spoke only Spanish, no English. I don't speak any Spanish. And she kept resisting, but I felt like I don't know, based on our interaction, I felt like she had insurance. And then I finally got her to wheelchair over, and then she grabbed her A flat paper. Then I sat outside with her and I used Chat GPT to translate back and forth. And then I ended up getting the replacement on that one, which was pretty cool. But it took a while for her to tell me. I don't know if it was mainly because of the language barrier, but after a few minutes at the front door, me sitting down on the ground outside of the front door with it cracked open, I was able to get her to wheelchair back over. And so that was a really good one.
That's awesome, dude. You definitely got that door to door muscle memory of just like let's just get to the next step. Let's just get to the next step. It's like you're stacking those wins on the wall. Like, you know, every time you kind of overcome that resistance and you actually get to look at their policy, that's what this coolest part about what we do is if we can just actually get the facts, like not even care at all if they buy from us or we can switch it. But it's like my job is just to figure out what you have. I don't care if you buy from me. My job is to make sure that you have 1,000,000% peace of mind of exactly what you have because they're wrong most of the time. You know, obviously there's so many ways to get to that point,
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
if you can just have a firm figure to compare to, man, you'll add a premium. I mean, and I feel like that's something we do really well here at Cardinal is just those transfers, replacement, upgrade the coverage, and it's just that conviction. Um, so don't worry about making a sale. Your job is to just figure out what they have. And if you get just supreme conviction on that, you're going to help a lot of people. Well, Bradley, man, thank you for sharing this morning. Excited that, you know, I'm glad I got to introduce you to the team. You know, I've been very impressed with your work ethic. You know, keep doing what you're doing, man. You're going to be a top 10 agent by the end of the year.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Switching gears to another first time on the call agent, Miss Amber Lewis. Amber, good morning. Good morning. You're going to unmute your phone. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, Amber. Thank you for jumping on this morning. Man, great job last week. Best week yet. Guys, Amber's been getting better week after week. Her first week out here, 44 hours, 5,500 in premium, hit 3 out of 4, 11 on 14. Actually, she's hit 3 out of 4 every week so far. Her first 3 weeks. Guys,
So far.
it's
Yep.
been a while since we had somebody do that. Go ahead, Amber.
Yeah, so I just the 3 out of 4 is kind of like my weekly goal. I'm like, okay, just do the thing, just do the 3 out of 4, and the rest will probably come. And so far, it has. So
Well, you've done it, you know. So, and then her second week, just a little bit better, 5,600 in premium, hit her hours, 38 hours, 25 appointments, 36 door knocks. But she got her presentation. So she did presentations, hours, premium, 9 on 12, 9 applications her second week. And then last week, her best week yet, 8,400 in premium, got her hours, got her sits, 10 applications on 13 presentations. So great job hitting the 3 out of 4. But yeah, first, I'd just love to give you a second to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your story prior to Cardinal, and then we can dig into the last 3 weeks. The floor
Okay.
is yours.
All right. So the past 20 years, I've actually been in automotive as a service advisor. So dealing with people's been my norm forever, but just kind of got burnt out, felt stagnant. Like I need something different, something that speaks to me a little bit more, where I'm a little bit more in control of my destiny, so to speak. Where I was working and the job I was doing, too many hands were in the cookie jar. Like too many people controlled my pay, and that got old after a while. So I decided to make a turn, and then looking for jobs, looking for something different, and ran across Cardinal, and it kind of spoke to me a little bit, and final expenses is something that everybody needs. So it was still something, customer service needs based. And I like that. And then just the onboarding process seemed to solidify that choice. And I've been happy with it since.
Awesome. So what about the onboarding process? Just curious.
So, if you have like your kind of initial interviewing and you're getting vetted and stuff like that. And then just the process itself for, you know, the original vet or initial vetting was like, okay, I'm interviewing you, but you're interviewing me, but it's like you're being selective. And so selective is not a bad thing. Like you're not just hiring anybody and throwing what out there and see what sticks. Like you have, a standard, so to speak. And so you fit my standard, I fit your standard, so that works, right? It's mutual. And then the school program that you have, the online, like here's your steps, this is what you're going to do. Like, I'm not going to do it for you, but if you can go out there and do it, you'll probably be fine. And so that's a little bit more vetting, a little bit more, if you want to do this, you're going to get out there and go do this, kind of setting the pace for get out there and go be self-motivated. And if you want it, you'll go get it. And so it's just that whole process from the gate has been, yeah.
Well, and then service advisor,
Mhm.
were you doing a lot of hours, like 6 days a week?
Yeah. So that's 50, 60 hours a week, Monday through Saturday, most of the time. Yeah.
Well, I've noticed that just in my years of recruiting, it's like you'll come across people that maybe they got used to a certain amount of money, whether it's like, hey, I
Yep.
want to make 6 figures, or they're right there, they want to do more, but it's just they're tired of doing it 6 days a week or just a lot
Yep.
of hours. And
Mm-hmm.
this job, I like the way you said it. If you do everything, you'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
It's straight commission, right? You'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
But if you break through that learning curve, then you can get the money and the work-life balance. And I've found that. I've seen a lot of people do that. But well, let's talk a little bit about your first 3 weeks, Amber. Just what you've
Okay.
learned, what you've been focused on, what your trainer's been helping you with. I mean, congrats on your best week yet so far.
Thank you. Thank you. Jenna has been amazing. I mean, they're every call, every text that I need her helping me work through things. So I've learned a lot, and I know it's going to take more time to learn, just kind of looking at the initial underwriting stuff, with their health and medications and stuff. Like, okay, I already kind of know who's going to be the best fit. And, Jenna has reassured me that, yep, that's going to come with time, but for now, just kind of rely on me and the toolkit, and, we'll get through it. And so figuring out the toolkit, leaning on it, leaning on Jenna has been very helpful. Week over week, I've definitely learned when to shut up, so that part of the presentation where you're presenting, the two or three choices of, premiums and face amount, and presenting it to them, face the tablet, whatever. Yeah, just shut up. Make them tell you that's way too high, because I've learned if you just shut up and let them pick, that you won't undersell yourself. Like they will pick something, or they will tell you that's still too high. And then you can move to, okay, well, let's negotiate terms, so to speak.
Yeah. So,
Um,
sorry to interrupt, but did Jenna really hammer that home from like a coaching conversation, or did you just kind of realize I'm just screwing that spot up?
I mean, I think a little bit of both. Because me and Jenna would talk, okay, yeah, follow the script and, go about it. And then reviewing the script and going back over the script, like it's in the script to do that. they're just that uncomfortable pause, so to speak. So it's a little bit of both, just,
Yeah.
you know,
Studying the
where
script, realizing, oh, I'm not doing that one.
I'm not doing that part that's there. Yeah, just shut up and it'll be okay. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And is this the first time you've done a one conversation close or a one call close in your career?
Um, I guess I would need a better definition of one call
Well,
close.
one call close means it's the first time you ever met them, but by the time you're done, you're getting their routing number, account number, and social.
No, I wouldn't say it's first time close. I mean, so I would have a lot of repeat customers in service, but I would have a lot of strangers as well. Like this is the first time we met, we broke down out of town. I'm like, look, dude, it's $4,000. You want it fixed or not? It is what it is.
Yeah.
And they either want to go home or they don't. And it's nothing personal, but you either want your car fixed or you don't. So,
The reason I bring that up is that it is it's an art, right? And obviously we have a structured way of teaching people how to do it, but all the body language stuff, the order in which you're asking information, for example, even like getting a yes before you ask for their social, all those little things build momentum to getting that sensitive information. And man, if you can, obviously you want to get the presentation down, but if you can get the closing steps word for word with the body language. It's funny, I haven't highlighted that. And now I'm describing the body language as just shutting up at the right part and then making sure you're looking at the quote, not looking at their eyes, because you don't want your eyes to be a third monthly payment option. When you're showing those two, you say, which of those could probably best fit your budget? You're looking down, you just shut up. Like, anyway. But yeah, any just last thoughts, Amber? Just learning, what's been helping you be successful, because you're off to a great start, not just in your sales, but in your habits.
So door knocks are very helpful. Like, yes, the appointments, I think maybe a few days ago, one of the guys said it best. Like, sometimes the appointments help you get out of the house, but the door knocks, yeah, just hitting the doors, being consistent on the doors in between appointments, or, if I get quick no's, it is what it is. And I kind of told Jenna this the other day, like these no's are a lot less personal than the no's in my previous career, because I had to see that person again in 6 months for another service. This no, I never have to see this person again, probably. And it's just like, oh, okay, bye. On to the next one. Don't take it personal. And it's very easy, or easier for me, to just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just on to the next, on the next. Just keep going.
That's good perspective. Actually, I was looking at your stats. This was your best week yet, and you got more sits from door knocks than you had the 2 weeks combined. So in sales, there's ebbs and flows. Sometimes the showing percentage is higher, sometimes it's lower. Sometimes you're going up to the appointment and they're just not letting you come in. But out of your 13 sit downs this past week, 8 came from door knocking. And you got 8 apps, 8 out of your 10 apps from the door.
Yep.
So that's awesome.
Yep.
Great job. Great
Thank
job.
you.
Well, we're at time. Amber, you keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to be having you on the call more and more often. So we'll have more time. We'll probably do another longer call. But look, I tell everybody, if you give yourself, 3 out of 4 metrics, right? That's 35 hours, 45 door knocks, 12 presentations, 4,000 in annual premium. So having that surrender, that I will work until I hit at least 3 out of those 4, right? Any combination of 3 out of those 4. If you give yourself that 48 out of 52 weeks, okay, you're going to be a top 10 producer. I mean, you just are. The math is there. And you got 3 of those knocked out. So, give yourself another 45. Like you're gonna lay such a great foundation. And hopefully you get to work together for a long time. So Amber, thank you so much for sharing this morning. Hope you have a great day and be safe out there this week. And on that topic, guys, let's say you're putting in the work and it's you're not seeing the sales yet. Okay. Well, remember, we are learning an art. Okay. It's a skill. It's the art of leading and dealing with people. And, again, if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? There's no shortcuts to intangible skills. But when you get this dialed in, then sometimes it's just little things that you're just not doing right. You're just maybe you're saying the words, but you're not saying them the right way, or you're missing kind of some of that body language stuff at the closing steps. But guys, we're not curing cancer here. Once you get those little things dialed in, the job can sell, it can change dramatically. Suddenly your sales can double. I've seen it all the time. It's an inflection point that happens. So you got to get the right amount of reps in. Okay. Your first 3 weeks are not going to be the same from someone else's first 3 weeks. Let's say your first 90 days, they're not going to be the same as someone else. But if you're putting in the right activity, I can tell you what a year from now is going to look like. Okay. And that's the power of the slide edge, right? Simple choices. It's the choice between simple disciplines or simple errors in judgment. The consequences on a daily basis are invisible. You can't really see the benefits of doing it right or the negative consequences of doing it wrong. But on a yearly basis, it's exponential. It's undeniable. So all I can tell you is that this is a known quantity. Okay, you can get there. You will get there if you keep your eyes on your vision, right? What you're building, the life you're building, and we'll learn it together. All right, guys, we're at time. I'm going to see a lot of you guys at the end of the week. I know some of you guys are hanging back, having another awesome week ahead. So thanks for being with us today. Remember, it takes all day to have a great day, all week to have a great week. Any given house can double or triple your week. Happens all the time. So why not you, right? You are due a good situation. Remember, no time's a good time. Right now is the best time. The answer's behind the next door. And the Lord will provide, especially if we cooperate. You have a great day. God bless. Catch you guys tomorrow morning. Thank you very much.